there working. He trying to get it done. Like, you know. Yeah, I'm feeling it. Get it in there. You feel every bit of that. Your shoulders, your traps. You feel every.
I've been working on the railroad. Oh, stop. Hey, man, OG got it. I was about to say.
The farmers one thing, but the actual movement of black farmers is another. I'm not sure if you guys know about black farmers, but there's less than 2% of African-American farmers in the United States right now. So I think it's like 1.4. In the 1920s, I think it was like 20% of black farmers. So it's obviously decreased. How that happened was the Great Migration. When slavery wasn't a thing anymore, all the black people moved to the Northeast from the South states. They took up different trades. They associated slavery with farming, and they just wanted to get out of Dodge and get different trades like welding and being factories and stuff like that. So unfortunately, when you take those trades, you can't really pass down the farming because now all these African Americans are learning different trades. Black farmers lost over 150 million acres of land. That equates to about 120 billion in wealth. So that's why the wealth gap is such a large disparity right now. And the numbers are crazy. I didn't know anything about this before I started this. And, you know, I felt like I had an obligation.
Why you bending my damn bars up? Yeah, get the goddamn chain. That's it.
What happened with the chain?
Get the goddamn chain.
I don't have no chain.
Stop bending my goddamn bar.
That's the bar.
Yeah, right there. I see it.
Oh, I f***ed that one up.
Yeah, I know.
You're supposed to go get one, so I can put that in play.
It wasn't even Triple J Farms back then. It was just basically us doing a favor for our grandfather, or just basically trying to pay him back in kind, in a sense, you know, since he was a person who took care of us.
He's always done everything for his family. He was legit the provider for the family for a long time. So I always respected his work ethic.
You know, he's a family man. He's in contact with everybody. All his great-grand, everybody comes to see him. And he's a good guy. You see, he got his brother there. His brother can't see. You know how he walked. And he brought him here, had him here ever since, taking care of him. So, you know, he's a good man. He has a good heart. That's family for real. That's what family do. You know, they look out for one another.
He always brought our family together. So his company, Speed Graphics, did a cookout. And we really turned that into like our own family reunion. For a couple of my meals. Yeah, this is a targeted keto.
Yeah?
Yeah. So it was my Uncle Jimmy and my Uncle Clifton. Uncle Clifton had died in the same projects. Basically, my grandparents raised my entire family. That's the only place I know, which is 155th and 8th Avenue, the Polo Grounds. He had died in the building. And that was at that point, Uncle Jimmy already had moved up here. Granddad was like, you know, I'm not going to stay up here. The reason why he wanted to own a farm and wanted to get land was because his uncle and aunt used to work on a plantation. And every summer he used to go play with the animals. And he's like, oh, I want a farm one day. And the plantation was called Windsor Plantation. So he wound up, ironically, again, moving to Windsor, New York. Like, he didn't even realize when he told me the story. He was just like, oh yeah, the plantation is Windsor, New York, or Windsor Plantation. I'm like, Granddad, we're in Windsor, New York. Goes, oh. This is actually darker than you.
Yeah, he chocolate.
No, Granddad's chocolate, but you're even darker.
It's cute though.
It's cute. But Granddad, show Jesse that book. Kid, like, he used to call me Jughead. He used to run around. Like, my mom used to just drop me off because she had to work a lot. So she would drop me off to my grandparents, say, hey, go to your grandparents for the weekend.
Me and all my 20 cousins, every birthday party, we'd all be at my grandparents' house. We was all each other friends, and we'd all be having parties and everything else. And that was the hangout spot.
We knew, regardless, if you want to see any of our cousins, you go to the polo grounds to grandma and granddaddy's house. That's where you'll see everybody. So when they moved, it was bittersweet. It was great because we got land. We got a house. It's like what everyone would hope you would want for your family. But it was bittersweet because we knew we was going to see our grandparents as often.
That was like the whole, because that was Big Mama's house. That was where you went for a rest. If you needed to use the bathroom, if you needed something to eat, if you just wanted to stop by and say hi, or if you needed a place to stay for that day, Big Mama was there. But when they came up here and left, a lot of things changed with the family.
3 hours away from the city, nobody drives. So, it wasn't really taken, like everyone was like, why are you moving up there? And it's crazy how, like, obviously this is so important now, like land, the house, just this place of refuge. But everyone's so bitter about it because we're not going to see our grandparents anymore. But this is something my grandfather's been working all his life to get, So it's just like everyone's happy, but we're still kind of upset that, they moved all the way up here.
That's why we realized, how important they were, And I guess it's symbiosis. They fed off of us and we fed off of them, and we took care of one another. They've been up here, I want to say, about 12, 13 years.
Do you think he'll mind if we lower the TV a little?
No problem.
That's not
Maybe
a problem?
turn that down for me, please. I was born in Georgetown, South Carolina.
Okay.
I came to New York when I was 15 years old,
Nice.
and I've been living ever since.
So you make this thing here, I want a book.
Show them the front. Yeah. So that was for the 85th birthday.
When I first started out with my son, he was going to have a lot of dogs, raised dogs, pedigree dogs.
So my uncle has been like the dog whisperer all my life. He's had, I don't know how many dogs he's had, but it's a lot. Too much to count.
So after he died, I got in touch with a neighbor of mine and we bought some chickens.
Him and his buddy, his next door neighbor, basically just trying to start a business. And
his name was Justin. They had something like Triple J, because it was, Justin, James, and Jimmy. And then it was called Triple J Acres.
As that business, grew, my grandfather's neighbor, he basically had a girlfriend and he left. And he told my grandfather, you can have all the chickens, they're yours. You know what I'm saying? And he went to go live with his girlfriend. And so that's how my grandfather actually got stuck with all the chickens.
And he met a young lady and he said, James, it's all yours. So I bought some more hens and that's how it got started.
So, I looked at it, I was like, all right, well, it's still my grandfather's. It's on my grandfather's property. I'm here, so I'm Jared. That's a J. And my cousin Daryl, his name is John. His middle name is John. It's like, Triple J Farm, we'll just call it that. The Sean and Granddaddy feeding the cows. Gotta get the main call, Granddaddy. Come here. How much they can eat though? What if they full and they just don't feel like going nowhere? They got the itis. What happens when they get the itis and just sit down? Come on.
So I came from New York, I was 15 years old. And I got married at the age of 19. I'm 86 now.
And did you and how was New York at that time? That's a lot different now, obviously.
Oh, a lot different. I think it was better then.
Yeah.
It was better then. Now it's crazy. People walk around punching things.
Working a farm is definitely stressful, but not compared to the stress that I had in the city.
Yeah.
Like, this is sort of therapeutic, in a way. Like, people think like working on a farm is definitely hard work. Like, it's definitely not, it's not easy, so, but it's therapeutic. You see the fruits of your labor.
Well, being in the city is trouble. It's not easy living there like it used to be coming up as a kid.
Times I sit out here and it's like, man, I don't even know why I was in the city.
Well, when I got incarcerated, I got locked up in the city too many times. So I got sick and tired of the city. So this time I decided not to go back there. So I reached out to my brother's stepfather, or father-in-law, because he's married to his daughter, and had my niece ask him if I can come here, on parole and work the farm, which would be something new to me and different, and probably better.
Allies. They help us a lot. Jordan is Uncle Joe.
How did you end up meeting Daryl?
So there was a couple beavers in Daryl's pond. I don't know if you know the story.
No.
But my wife's uncle Joe Kovich is a trapper, so he went up there and trapped the beavers out of their pond. And I met him through coming up to see Joe anytime they needed something, that they couldn't handle themselves. So
I met Uncle Joe, which is Jordan's uncle-in-law. That's his wife's uncle.
that's how I met Daryl. Just hanging out one time, and hit it off. Now me and him go every Friday night to the German club and hang out every Friday night.
Gary, they need a knife.
Only one person brought a knife? What, don't you guys live in the city? And only one person got a knife?
No, we got blades. We don't carry it.
What, a Zacto knife?
Same difference, right? Just cut the line, right? Whether it's a knife or... Throughout your time in, farm life in general, in PA and now in New York, is meeting Daryl the first time you've seen black farmers, or is it
It's the
super
first time I've seen anybody black, too. I've never had a black friend before. We didn't have any in school either. Daryl's story, he was a kid from the city that actually went to New Hampshire.
I actually grew up in New Hampshire. I actually grew up in the country. I grew up in Alton, New Hampshire. I was basically the only black kid in my school. You ever heard of the Fresh Air Fund? All right, so the Fresh Air Fund is when they send city kids to the country. People sign up to take kids, and parents sign up to send their kids to different places during the summertime. It went to the point where I just went there, and then I went to school there. I remember her name is Constance and Dick Quinley, but I remember when I first met them, they could be like, you can call me Constance or Connie, and you can call Dick, Dick or Bill or whatever you want, or you can call him Dad, you can call me Mom, whatever you want to choose to do. So I'm like, white people talking about call him Dad and Mom. And she's like, these are your brothers and sisters, BJ, Tom, David, Dickie, Mandy, Buffy, and I'm like, okay. So then they run around telling people I was their brother and shit, and then, and I remember I'd be in the store like, Mom, and then all the white people be looking like, so I remember Mom told me her best friend that she had, her best friend came and asked her, aren't you afraid you're gonna catch something? Yeah, she asked her, was she afraid that she was gonna catch something from me?
Yeah,
but another thing I'm noticing too about this Facebook marketplace, I don't think a lot of people like black people. So I'll be telling Jordan to send messages because a lot of motherfuckers.
You send a message, they don't say nothing?
They don't say nothing.
And Jordan sends it?
And then they say something, or they'll tell me that it's already sold, and then I look and it's still online. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, what can you do?
That's crazy.
And my picture is my picture on there.
Yeah, it's not like Craigslist where I'm just messaging you.
Yeah, you just messaging me.
I didn't even think about that. That's fucked up.
I mean, 'cause
My name is Andy Pragus, and I'm one of the members of the Riot Act Collective, and we operate the Riot Act Bookstore, which is the only bookstore in Binghamton, New York. In this area, there's very, very few black farms. I think that they're the only black farm in Broome County, to my knowledge. The history of racial oppression and racial dispossession in our community is very potent and strong. A place like Johnson City, where I grew up and went to high school, that was a sundown town. There was no black families allowed there. The deed to my father's house still has a clause in it that you can't sell to black people in. They're illegal for us, but that's the community here. So there are these deep legacies, and what we need to be doing as a community is making sure that those legacies, those histories don't impact our future.
Jared, what's up, bro? So this is the spot. There's 2 stores right now, but ultimately my side will be on the right. So come in the back cave. Jared is one of my favorite people in the world. I look up to Jared in many ways. He's like a brother, a big brother, you know? I'll have like the display coming this way, facing for the customers when they walk in. The whole storefront will be glass. For my business, I work with all local farmers. Every single product that I sell must come from a local farmer. During the pandemic, I had one supplier of eggs, and it was a shaky guy. He wouldn't answer his phone sometimes, and it was just a lot going on there. Anyway, I needed a new egg supplier, and I found Jared's Instagram, or I found Triple J Farms Instagram, I should say. Shot a message. I said, I need local eggs. Do you have them? They said yes, and then we've been doing business ever since. I'll be going crazy. That's live. What's beyond the business, beyond the eggs, is the relationship that I've developed with Jared. He's like a mentor. I admire him. The things that he's doing with his several businesses are very admirable.
I met Jared because one of the people that runs the farmers market here, Eliana, she put me in touch with Jared because they were looking to showcase their eggs in Binghamton.
My name is Andrew Torrens. I'm the supply chain manager for DIG. And so that means that I source all the food that we're serving at our restaurant. So it's finding new vendors, it's connecting with the farmers, it's placing orders, it's dealing with things when they go wrong, deliveries don't show up, crops fail. Anytime I reach out to someone, if they don't have what I need, they're telling me 2 or 3 other farmers that might be growing that crop that I can go to. And in a similar way, I think that's how I initially found Triple J.
The shop we run has a social justice focus, so we run on what we call an anti-profit basis, meaning that we sell books below market value, and our goal is to provide books to our community on important subjects. We think are social justice topics.
Unfortunately, it's competitive at the moment to start sourcing from them. Like, they only have a certain amount of eggs and products to send around. And we had some real good conversations at the beginning of the relationship of kind of trying to say, this is what our mission is, and we want to find a way to support you, and we want to find a way to work with you. And if you don't have the capacity at the moment, like, let's just keep these conversations going, because we want to be here and we want to be involved with you, and like, we are looking at a long-term partnership. So whatever that may be, and so far it's been great. I mean, 6-9 months in, it's been great.
There's no other bookstore in our community, and we also make sure, because the historical legacies of dispossessing Afro-Americans of both intellectual knowledge and property, and the commodification thereof, dispossessing of land, we run a reparations fund. So we make sure that Black and Indigenous people can access any of our books for free. So helping out, not even helping out, I mean, it's been great for us. Like, it's not charity. Supporting an enterprise like what they're doing and trying to return Black people to the land, especially in this community, is a mission that we wholeheartedly support. And that's why that's one of our reasons for working with Triple J in ways that we don't necessarily work with other farms, right? Like, the farmers markets around here are great. As you can see, we got the farmers market here. This is a smaller one, but there's a bigger one, and you see a lot of white faces. That's where all the big farms are run. And there's fewer opportunities for Black farmers.
I don't trust a lot of people up here. You don't ask people for help because, they ain't gonna give you help. Money talks, you know what I'm saying? Different things like that. But it's the opposite. Like Uncle Joe, he picked up the camper for me back there. And so I'm like, what do I owe you, Uncle Joe? He was like, we was talking. I was like, you need to split that wood that's on your property. He was like, yeah, but he was like, I gotta get the he was like, I only have the lay down splitter like that. He said, I need the one that stand up. And I was like, oh, I got the one that stand up. He said, all right. He said, buy me a pack of cigarettes. And he said, when and the next time I'm off, bring your splitter over so I can split the wood. I said, all right, no problem. All right. You know what I'm saying? The barter system.
Yeah.
You know, this is a guy that when I first met him, I was paying him $50 an hour to dig holes for me with his tractor.
Right.
You know, now this man went and helped me get a camper, drove it all the way over here, parked it up, told me if I need to move it or anything else. And all I had to do was buy him a pack of cigarettes and basically let him use my wood splitter. You know, so basically it gives you hope in society in this world. And the funny thing is all these guys that I'm talking about are all Republicans, are all Trump supporters. I mean, it's the craziest thing in the world. They all listen to country music, they wear cowboy boots. You know what I'm saying? They keep telling me that I'll probably be part of the crew once I get me a pair of cowboy boots. Like, no, that will not be happening.
For some reason, my mind can't stay in the present. It always thinks about like the future, so I'm always thinking a year ahead, 2 years ahead, 5 years ahead. And I thought about the farm and where it's gonna be.
Yeah, now that I'm doing this for me, it's not even for my children, it's for my grandchildren. Like, I'm thinking that far ahead.
We're gonna start to educate more black farmers on how to market their farm so they can do the same thing we do locally in their town or their city. These are all the stamps. So one says buy land, one says family first, one says give us our 40 acres, one says generational wealth. So we do like a rotation of them.
A key to this notion of reparations, right, is the realization that black families have been denied the opportunity, and then also had things stolen from them physically.
One of the best ways I'd say that folks out in the audience could help, beyond the financial donations that might be given, is your expertise. In the Black community, even in a family like ours who's lived in Vermont since 1962, it is so hard to identify experts, lawyers, conservation people, who you can trust.
In your town has a racist history. You gotta know that history. There's no town in the United States that is immune from racism or settler colonialism, dispossession of American Indians and Afro-Americans. There's not, or from slavery, the experience of slavery. There's no community in the United States that can claim this.
It is really hard to break into those networks, which are all white networks of expertise, knowledge, social capital, and get the help.
Every community should be engaged in a process of understanding how that community has perpetrated racial injustices, theft and oppression, denial of opportunity. I don't think that racism is not going to be solved by doing that. That's not my claim. But I think that has to be the first most important step. It's not about, racism is not about attitudes or just about attitude. It's not about just, it's a structure that none of us can escape, even sociology professors.
For me, I want somewhere where, again, my family members that are not working, or my family members that maybe come home from jail who are incarcerated, that it's a hard time for them to get a job. I want them working here.
It's a family here. As long as there's a descendant from the Minton family, as long as this place is here, they're part of it.
Alright, that one's better.
Nice.